Hey Rosebuds, it's your host Nairi Rose, and we are back with another episode. Um, this is my first video of 2026, so if you celebrate the new year, happy new year to you. Technically, I think the new year starts in spring, March time, so that's when I typically get amped up about the new year. But truly, since it's become January, I feel like there has been a reset. Since it's become 2026, I do feel like starting January, there has been a reset of some sort. Energy feels different, people feel different, awareness feels different. And being that this is episode 5 and it's about hidden growth and the progress that you can't see, it's important to talk about true new year resolutions and just what that looks like. We all create lists and we all have our ideas of what is a true resolution. And so the reason why I feel like in the spring, that's when New Year starts for me, is just because the sun starts to heat things up and you start to see the flowers start to bloom again. But again, we're talking about roses here. And so our core symbolism for today's episode is beneath the soil, new buds begin forming, even in the coldest days. That is so important to know because sometimes when we have these resolutions, we have these big dreams, we have these big goals. And I know, speaking for myself, I've quit on some of those goals. I haven't fully achieved some of the bigger goals that I've set aside for myself, just because I did not realize or I wasn't cognizant of the progress. Sometimes we look for immediate results. We want to see our results right then and right there. The power of the mind is incredible, but it can also hurt you if you are not totally in control and aware of your thinking, your intention, your mood, your mindset, your overall energy and frequency in life. And so I love the title and what we are going to discuss in this episode because when I think of the new year in 2026, aside from what's happening in the world, I always think that if not the number one, if this was Family Feud, what's everyone's number one New Year resolution? I would say everyone's number one, if not number two, is weight loss, losing weight. And so that is something that I feel like I can talk about, at least within this episode. Not too deeply because I am not a medical professional. I did take some classes and some courses, so I do know some terminology and I'll speak to certain things. But, whatever your goals are, let them be your goals. Do not be easily influenced. Take in what you need, and whatever you don't, discard at your own risk. So, hidden growth, especially when it comes to weight loss, it's one of those things where sometimes we don't even see how we change, especially our bodies over time. When you're present in the moment, sometimes you're present and you're doing things and you're handling your day to day, and we always think about our past. Some people get stuck in their past, but I feel like the future is so vague, it becomes scary. And so you might say, well, in 5 years, I'm going to be this person, or in a month, I'm going to be this person because this opportunity is coming. But when we go through our obstacles and challenges, a lot of people don't have the knowledge or the skill set to balance life while also balancing food. Granted, I've been seeing so much on my algorithm about food, and food poisoning. I know that in my teenage days in school, we had documentaries like Food Inc. and Super Size Me, and we had these books that really opened up the door for these conversations about food and how food can be so damaging to our bodies. But when you are going through your day to day, you're going to your 9 to 5, you're a student at school, and you're technically in survival mode. Some people can balance that while others struggle with things like emotional eating. Something that I'm hearing a lot more, which I had no knowledge of. It's only been like 5 years since I've known about body dysmorphia. So many people struggle with body dysmorphia, and I consider myself to be a bigger person, a curvier person. So because of that, everybody to me looks smaller or skinnier. And I say air quotes because some people get offended with being called skinny, which I also found out. So I do not mean to trigger anyone when I use these words. Nonetheless, for someone like me, body dysmorphia totally damages the mind and it causes setbacks. So shout out to all the people who have ever attained a goal and held on to that goal and was able to see the fruits of their labor. And also shout out to the people who attempted to finish a goal and we just fell off. It's okay to fall off. It's okay to struggle and have setbacks. But at what point do we take accountability for all of the times we set ourselves back? Because it gets to a point where you fall back on a goal and you keep falling back, and then so much time has passed on. So with that being said, when it says beneath the soil, new buds begin forming, even in the coldest days, that alone tells you that growth does not stop. Even when you stop and you become stagnant, there are still things that are happening. And as someone who grew up seemingly healthy and not being aware of how poisonous food could be to my body, not knowing my body's chemistry and just taking on diets because that was how I was raised. I was raised to where you needed to eat all the time. You needed to have breakfast. You needed to have snacks in between. You needed to have lunch. You needed to have dinner and maybe a snack app. It was just a lot. And so you're a consumer of food, and that can trickle into other things. But I just want to stay focused. When you're consuming these foods, you're not reading the ingredients, and you're in high school, and I know at least at my high school, they have snack bars and snack shops. Now some of these schools have like actual fast food restaurants in them, but you're just survival mode. You're going through your life, you're going through what you're going through, and you're just consuming foods, especially if you don't have the privilege of having a family that's fortunate. You don't have a parent that can pack lunches for you. And even sometimes when they do pack lunches, those lunches might not be healthy. So we've come so far, and we've realized so many mistakes have been made with our eating habits. And we also need to give ourselves a lot of grace because a lot of things are coming out about the food industry. My mind is blown right now because I just thought of a video that I saw, and it keeps coming to me in waves. I apologize. This woman, all respect to her, because She calls it the death industry. She calls the food industry the death industry. And when she speaks, she can recall names, she can recall times. Her mind is so clear, her skin is so smooth, and she attributes it mostly to her diet and her routine. And really, before you can say to yourself, especially if you identify as someone overweight, you have to instill a routine, a consistency in your life before you can say, I want to be 80 pounds less, or I want to be 100 pounds less, or I want to lose 20 pounds even. You have to have that discipline for sure, but did you plan out what your future is going to look like? Did you plan out or have a SMART goal for what it is that you're trying to embody, especially with your body? I grew up not as a petite young lady, but I felt like I was taller than everybody and muscular for sure. I ran track, I played tennis, I played soccer, I did sports, and sometimes I'm starting to even think now, like, do sports damage our bodies at a young age? All of that exertion. But I did these things and I consider myself a fit girl. I didn't struggle with being overweight until I went to college and experienced like college a little bit. And then I started having children. And that's when I started putting on a lot of weight, eating, emotional eating, comfort eating. Even when I was quote unquote fit as a young girl, I still know that I ate and I overate. Sometimes in families, there's a culture of you need to finish your plate. And there was another young lady who I saw on Instagram, and she said that what if you don't have to finish your plate? What if it's okay to be full and just say that you're full and you put your food to the side? Now, some people might disagree and say, well, that's wasteful. There are people that are starving in other countries, blah, blah, blah. But I'm talking about specifically like maybe when you go out to eat, or you're buying your own food, or you're cooking your own meals. Portion control. Portion control is important. When I had my children, after I had my second child, I stepped on the scale and I was 291 pounds. And I did not recognize myself at that time. So seeing that number, I just became numb. I was so numb to my weight and my pains and childbirth and all of these things that I just could not process the fact that what's considered normal, which is like 120 pounds, I had doubled that, like almost tripled that number. So being 291 pounds, being a new mom of these children, I don't know how some people do it. And we can attribute it to genetics for sure. Genetics and people, having good genes and being able to snap back. But also, I honor the women who struggle with weight loss and men, because sometimes we get, as women, I would say sometimes we project on men because for some reason, it seems like men, when they lose weight, it falls off so fast. Yeah. And I know it has to do with your body, chemistry and all of those things, but it's just like, oh my goodness, like you've been working out for 3 months and you've lost 50 to 60 pounds.
Or why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
Halfway. I've been working out for 3 months and I've lost 5 to 10. Like, make it make sense. So I'm just saying this because at 291, I did not really believe that I was that big. And so that's the body dysmorphia, maybe coupled with something else. So when it comes to the hardest time of my life, that was the hardest time of my life. Being overweight, being obese, significantly obese, not recognizing myself, it made me turn to food more. It just made food a coping mechanism to where I didn't know how to start. Like, I didn't know how to go to the gym or tell myself like something needs to change. And I had people, who lashed out at me about my weight or made comments about my weight. And it's upsetting when people who you love or just people in general make you feel some type of way about your weight or tell you you're unhealthy, because at the end of the day, like, it's like, get in the gym with me, like, work out with me. And the Most High had to teach me how to be humble, because at the end of the day, it's nobody's responsibility to take care of me but me. That's why you need to not only know thyself, but love thyself and love yourself enough to make change. So I was putting all of this responsibility on other people not helping me get to my goal, to where it made me angry. It made me more shelled as a person. It made me fragile. And I was so confused. And so after having, my kid and then getting into a major car accident, I knew that my time was almost up. I felt like my time was up, and I haven't shared this before, but God spoke to me in a dream. And before I started my health journey, I had a dream of me being unalive in a casket, and I was overweight, and my vitiligo was all over my face. It had spread. So it was just me being overweight and like half of my face depigmented. And I woke up in tears. I was crying because I said, I'm going to die and no one's going to recognize who I am. Like, that's scary. Like, no one's going to know, like, or even if they do know, I'm going to confuse the crap out of like my family or anyone who comes to visit me per se. If anyone was to show up, like, even with my own family, I'm just like, why would I do that? Why would I go out like that? Like, I can't go out like that. Not today. So that was the beginning of my true New Year's resolution. Literally, like, getting into that accident and knowing that I could be gone like that. There was too much chaos brewing to where I was like, something needs to change. So I'm grateful for all the people that along the way helped me. I'm still on my journey. I'm so proud of where I'm at now, and I'm still in the threshold of the low 200s. And I'm thinking, like, I have to be 100 and such and such pounds. Like, I have to be this weight. But I'm learning, the more I love myself, the more everything will put itself back together. Granted, I'm consistent. Granted, I follow a routine. Granted, I give myself grace. Granted, I have my days where I don't punish myself for resting. I don't feel guilty for rest anymore. Sometimes people feel guilt for laying down or sitting down for a couple of seconds. We always feel like we are on the go or we need to be on the go. But you have to honor when it's time to just pause. I'm learning not to punish myself for pausing and then to reward myself or celebrate myself for when I get up again and when I try again. Everything that you do, even within a short amount of time, so like for every 90 days, you'll see your previous 90 days. So if you dedicate 90 days to just going hard, working hard, learning a new skill, learning a language, just learning a new hobby, trade, sport, if you do that for 90 days, whatever progress that you've made will manifest itself and show within the next 90 days. And I just love how we are in this moment of cycles and repetition and resets. I love it because you can truly be and become whoever you want to be. And that's not in a way to say run from your past or escape who you are. No, take every version of yourself, especially the versions of yourself that you truly love the most, even if you've been hurt or scorned. Just take all the moments that you love about yourself and bring them forward. They can coexist. So when we talk about New Year's and resolutions, just know that all your big dreams can still happen. They might not happen how you see them in your mind, but through routines and consistency, you can see something close to it, if not near. Like, you just have to keep going. And so the lesson for this episode is just because you cannot see progress does not mean it isn't happening. And that is so prevalent. I just know that social media can help you. It can be a tool, it can be a resource. There are so many wonderful content creators who have canonized fitness and their journeys. The first person that comes to my mind, there is a young lady named Kiera Lachey. I I just know that she helped me lose so much weight with her hip hop Tabata. I didn't know what a hip hop Tabata was. I did this workout, and the first time I did it, I went to the ER. And that wasn't Kira's fault. Let me just say that disclaimer. It wasn't her fault. I was just not ready. I was scared. I was doing it scared, and I was overweight, and I sprained my ankle because I saw my higher self. I saw the self of myself that I love. I saw that younger self of me hitting it. Just, I'm doing it. But the form, the shell that I was in, it was limiting my potential. And when I saw it that way, I was like, okay, I'm in this ER. They got me bandaged up. When I heal, I'm doing it again. And so that's how it kind of started. And we're talking, this is 7 years ago. So this is how it started. And through repetition and like finding those videos that were familiar to me, it got me motivated because sometimes you're not ready to go to the gym. The gym, I don't even want to talk about that, but the gym can be very competitive, very much about optics, fashion. It can be a safe space, or it can be judgmental and scary. So go to the gym at your own risk, but go for you. Make sure when you go to the gym, it's for you. When I got started on my journey, I did not go to the gym. I was not ready. I did not want to show my face. I didn't want to run into nobody. So I worked out at home, and working out at home helps. People be sleeping on working out at home. But it's awesome. It's a cool thing to do. And I just know that you are constantly changing but you are what you eat, you are what you consume, you are your actions, you are your words, you are your thoughts. And I want to do what I can to kind of clear that up and remedy that up. Granted, I love my imperfections. I am on this natural kick and I'm just loving it. I put on makeup the other day and I didn't feel comfortable.
Oh my God, what is that?
Which is so weird to go from putting on makeup every single day to putting on makeup and feeling uncomfortable. Like, gratitude, that was beautiful for my spirit to like experience. Like, I don't like this, I don't look like myself, I rather look like myself than someone that I don't really connect to anymore, because that used to be my life, just makeup, makeup, makeup. And so I just say all this to say that you should not quit your journey just because you don't see progression. Progress is happening, it's just not happening on your terms and conditions, and it's not happening at your space and time. Pace yourself with all your goals. Whatever you want to do it. Hidden growth, like, mindsets have been changed. People are changing. There are people out there that are ready to meet you, that are ready to bless you, that are ready to see you and embrace you, but you won't find them until you actually show some type of progress. And so my word for this year is awareness, or self-awareness. Be aware. Be aware of yourself and your emotions and where you're at before you project onto someone else. Be clear. There's a lot of miscommunication. See, there's a lot of miscommunication that's going to happen. You might trip up on your words, but it's okay. Like, it's okay, because you are coming into a new version of yourself. And with that, you might stifle your resolutions or your goals, just because you're like, I can't see, how this is going to work out. I can't see this new opportunity. I can't see this new house. I can't see this new apartment. I can't see this new job. I can't see this new potential. But you don't have to see it. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. And you have to have hard work. And those two can coexist together. Faith is so important, because faith is not only restoration, but it's you challenging yourself within the mind. It's you putting your trust in the Most High. It's you saying, even though I'm uncomfortable, I will be all right. And that's all you can do, because in solitude and in isolation, you have to carry yourself, but it is uncomfortable, especially when you feel alone, when you feel like, I'm by myself and I want all of these people to help me. I want all of these people to get me to the next level. But what if they can't? What if God is not allowing them to, because the Most High needs to see you do the work first? Like, okay, I'll match you, but where are you going to meet me? Where are you going to come with it? Like, you have to come with it, and you have to come hard. And so I just want to close with this scripture. And you probably have heard this scripture, but of course, for we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. And you hear it, it may sound cliche, but sometimes what you see can be an illusion. Is maybe not what you think it is. There may be something going on behind the scenes that you're unaware of, But if you hold on to your faith and you hold on to your discernment and you keep moving forward, your resolutions can come true. Your resolutions are there in place because it's your soul telling you what you need to do to just grow, to keep growing. We're talking about roses, growth, seeing things that aren't really there, but it's happening. It's the progress that you can't see yet, but you're making progress. I've made so much progress. I thank the Most High daily for the progress that I've made. And I'm so grateful and I have so much gratitude because I'm learning. And because I'm learning, I'm way more forgiving. The anger that I carried, the shame, the guilt that I carried when I was overweight, I didn't need to carry all of that at that. I mean, I'm glad that I carried it, but I didn't need to. That's self-harm. And it is not helpful to hurt yourself or harm yourself when there's so many people that love you truly. You don't have to see or hear people tell you that they love you, because you should know, because you love yourself. The more you love yourself, the more love will surround you. And love is not always sweet. Love is not always kind. Sometimes love is you standing up for yourself. Love is setting boundaries, the hard ones. Love is saying no. Love is not being mean. We are not being mean to people, but we are being assertive. We are affirming ourselves in our power and standing on it like times 10, because I got on the internet the other day and I saw a video and it was so disrespectful. In my opinion, it was disrespectful because we're talking about resolutions and goals and weight loss, and it was a whole compilation of women telling other women how they shouldn't be fat and having kids is no excuse, and how it's kind of like it's always like a us versus them, and the rhetoric, it can get to be annoying. But like, I was watching it and at first I was like, yeah, like they're right, you shouldn't be fat, you shouldn't be this, you shouldn't be overweight. But I'm like, no, this is not actually okay. People's bodies change, and regardless if you choose to have children or not have children, you don't have to have kids to gain weight. And even if you do have kids and gain weight, you should not be shamed for that. I don't know where the culture of shaming people for being overweight came from, especially if there's no empathy for how that weight got there. And people are truly and genuinely healing, but we really have to hone in on not judging a book by its cover. I've seen people smaller than me not be able to keep up with me, if that makes sense. So when people are out here projecting and spewing hate and saying you should look like this and not that, be careful not to follow trends. Be who you are. Be assertive in your style, in your creativity, and know that with your resolution, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, whatever your growth in your business, in your finances, because I feel that for whoever watches this, there will be growth in your business, in your finances, in your love life. I just know that 2026 is going to be one of those years that will be tough, but you are a diamond in the rough. But yes, do what you need to do and be true to who you are. Do not give up. I'm going to leave you with actually an affirmation. I honor the growth happening beneath the surface. All your growth is happening. You just need to be patient and not put so much pressure on seeing it. It's my money and I want it now. Like, you just need to chill, okay? And know that the Most High is working so hard, but you gotta do some work too. You have to meet in the middle, if not 60%. Like, you just have to come with it and give yourself grace when that extra pound shows up. But don't be afraid to keep looking. Have trackers, track your weight, track your calories, track your meals. People take pictures of their meals and like have it in a log. I didn't know how deep planning can go. Of course, not too much pressure. Don't overdo it. Just deep breaths, taking things one step at a time, walking by faith, not by sight. All things that glitter aren't gold, and the grass is not greener. Amen. Ashe. So, thank you. Thank you for being here. Episode notes can be found at heyrosebuds.com, along with some weekly rose care practices. I love those. And just shout out to Substack. I really love Substack. So if you go to heyrosebuds.com, please check out my newsletter for the Rose Garden and Hey Rosebuds. I super appreciate all the people who support, because showing up for yourself can be difficult, but you should not stop. You should not stop. Do it when you feel like you're about to give up. Whatever creative thing that you're putting off, I encourage you, maybe even challenge you to just maybe 5 minutes of your time work on something. And just again, like, baby steps, because life be lifing. Woo! And things get hard. But I mean, granted, you put your seatbelt on, it's going to be a good year and we're going to be okay. All right. So thank you for coming to the Rose Garden. Thank you for spending time in the Rose Garden, where healing isn't loud, it's layered, gentle, and personal. I'll see you in the next episode. And always remember, when life gives you thorns, search for roses. Peace.